that point to say that you don't have to know everything to get your foot in the door.
Right, right. Exactly. You don't need to know everything. So you worked at help desk.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to cybersecurity?
Worked in help desk for a while. Ended up working for Hewlett Packard. Got into a
Yes.
lot more senior positions as far as organizational, um, functional roles with like implementing large technical projects and all. And I knew I wanted to get into cybersecurity because that was like a buzzword going around around the office. Is like, hey, cybersecurity is where it's at. That's the future. Blase, blase. And I saw a role with Tripwire that
Oh,
was a technical support position. And so I leveraged my background in just general IT to land me a senior technical support position with Tripwire, where I really got to get hands on with cybersecurity software, talking to users and practitioners in this environment, understanding what their pain points were, and that just kind of set it off from there. And it's I've never looked back. I really enjoy this field.
okay. Yeah, Tripwire is okay. I see you So what was you doing at HP?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I started off at Hewlett Packard as a technical consultant. So
Oh,
there,
okay.
yeah, I started helping with the implementation of a lot of our enterprise products and softwares. So like hardware, data, server racks, helping people troubleshoot those, understanding how they work, and getting them set up for their environment, along with some of our software that, as far as our networking equipment. I think we used to have a virtual connect module that was like a network that would switch that would go into an enclosure. And from there, it just kind of grew. I kind of feel like I went off the question. What was the question again?
No. The question was what you was doing at HP, and how did HP led you to Tripwire? Because Tripwire is security.
Right. Well, there was a small gap after Hewlett Packard where I spent a small short time as a DevOps instructor. I really wanted to kind of get my hands around like virtualization and a lot of the technologies that were coming out back then. That was when cloud providers were really getting hot. So I really focused in on like AWS, my knowledge of Azure and the Google Cloud platform. And I used all of that expertise to land me that entry-level role in a cybersecurity company.
Oh, okay. And then you moved to Tripwire,
Mhm.
where it's all security based, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. How was that transition?
I'd say it was fairly easy because of the prior experience I had in IT already. So a lot of the language was the same as far as like the technology. The biggest challenge was the mindset shift to understand that like what security means, how it impacts people, and why is it important, and keeping that like top of mind versus just a regular IT job. You may not, security may not be top of mind. At Tripwire, security was definitely top of mind, and just getting into all the best practices, the compliance frameworks. Um, yeah, the list is long there of all the things that entail with cyber.
Yeah, yes. But I'm glad you mentioned that mindset. Was the mindset different than HP, than working in the infrastructure side in
Yeah,
HP?
yeah, definitely. Infrastructure is about like keeping things running, keeping your mission critical systems up and going. Cybersecurity is around protecting data, preventing intrusions, preventing misconfigurations, things that, if things go wrong, they have significant impact on organizations and people.
Right, right. Oh, okay. We have a question from the audience.
Sure.
Kevin asked, not Kevin, whole cyber human initiative, Ask Kevin, are you involved with communities like Black in Tech or others like that?
Not necessarily. I'm not involved directly with like Black in Tech. I will say that I do try to give back and participate in any type of program that I feel like will help serve people that look like me get into this field. I've done speech and outreach with programs called like City of Refuge. I'm a big advocate and promoter of the organization Year Up. I think they're doing an amazing job trying to get underserved communities into these cybersecurity and IT professional jobs. So I really appreciate that, but not officially associated with Black in Tech.
Okay, no problem. All right. So now at Tripwire, what was you doing at Tripwire?
Oh, wow. So at Tripwire, again, I started off as a support engineer, and shortly after me starting, I ended up going into the technical product management role, where I really got to leverage some of my earlier skills. And that's something I like to call out. You can always like build upon other jobs, other things that you've done. They'll come back around. It's funny how life comes back around. So you may remember I talked about being a DevOps engineer instructor. And so essentially I became a product manager, and what Tripwire was working on and I was able to help, launch was their first cloud security product there. So I was able to create a product that would help secure Kubernetes, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud platforms for configuration management, vulnerability management, and also the scanning of like Docker containers and images. So that's what happened there.
Oh, okay. And then from Tripwire, how did you meet AJ?
How did I meet AJ? Actually, I was doing a speech for the SANS organization around cloud security, and me and AJ were like both on that same, I think, series.
Yeah. AJ is an instructor for SANS, right?
Yes, he is. So he was on that series, and we ended up linking up after I did my speech, kind of just chatting and talking. We got on a Zoom call. I talked about what I was working on. He talked about what he was building, and AJ, he's such a great guy. He said, you know what? I think in the future I want to bring you on my team and have you work with me. And earlier this year in March, the opportunity presented itself, and that's where I've been, is at Bite Check, doing our thing, making compliance suck less.
Oh, so he headhunted you?
I would say maybe so. Maybe that's
yeah. So now, what are you doing with Bite Check?
Oh, wow. So at Bite Check, we've got some exciting things going on. So like we're in a space where we have other players in our industry, but what we're really focused on is creating that differentiation in our cybersecurity product and process as an organization. We're launching a version 2 of the cybersecurity platform that we use for our customers. And I've been working very intensely to get that going and live and get customers onto our new platform so we can continue to make compliance suck less and streamline a lot of the challenges that like organizations have with getting their SOC 2 and other compliance frameworks.
Okay. So what was your biggest struggle with getting into cybersecurity?
In particular, let's see, I think getting in, there was just a lot to learn. There's a lot of alphabet soup, lots of acronyms to try to figure out, trying to absorb as much information as possible, but then also like giving yourself the grace and understanding to know like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm working with people, and all of this is a people business. So it's about connecting and networking with your immediate manager, the people that you're trying to serve as far as your teammates and customers. So I think that mindset shift has helped me be successful. Always continuous learning and pitting people as a primary focus of, this is what we're here for.
Right. So as someone, this is Breaking Into Cyber, right? Podcast where we help people transition, sort of like what you did from the aquarium, from the gift shop of an aquarium. That is awesome story, man. Till now you're working not only in cybersecurity, you're working for a startup, a minority-owned business. I mean, that is, so you said always continuous learning, right?
100%.
Which I agree with. How though?
Oh man, you gotta
As a newbie, how?
Saturate yourself. Saturate yourself. I'd like to say find something that interests you. Cybersecurity is broad. Nobody knows all of it. So find something that interests you, whether it's vulnerability management, whether it's a user and entity behavior analytics. Find something that interests you and really become a expert in it, in a sense that you're studying, the hottest topics that are in this particular niche. You understand the risk and what organizations are trying to prevent and protect themselves against.
Yeah, because it's this is a big field.
Yeah.
And I think people are getting lost in just the complexity and the of the field.
Yeah.
So continuous learning is important. Is there any platforms, anything you suggest they be a part of, they join?
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people one, get on LinkedIn. I would assume that most of your audience is on LinkedIn already, but make sure you're LinkedIn with people who are in the field that you're interested in. Begin to follow their content, begin to see where they're learning their information from. A lot of times one of the great things I know is that when people learn stuff, they typically share it. Find out where those sources are, that they're the people that have the role that you want to, where they're getting their information from, and kind of leech off of that in a sense to build your knowledge and your skill set. There's Twitter. Make sure you follow prominent thought leaders in your area of expertise. Then there's all the other tools, YouTube, you've got Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, where you can really hone in on particular subject matters and make sure you understand the language and the terminology that is being used to describe and discuss some of these things.
Yeah, most definitely. And you mentioned Twitter, which is funny because Twitter gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
But I want everybody to know that from the cybersecurity space, we carved out our own Twitter. We have our own Twitter, right? We don't deal with the Twitter with they shooting each other and all kind of stuff, right? We have our own Twitter, so don't be afraid to come into Twitter. Just stay on the cybersecurity side. Right? Don't go to the basement party. Stay up.
I like that, Professor.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. There's you can start off with simple hashtags, Black Tech in Twitter, or Black Techs or Blacks in Cybersecurity. If you're into that, or just cybersecurity, look and see who's out there posting. Follow. There's so much. I think we live in a time and age where there's just so much out there. It's almost too much. So that becomes the problem. Is all right, well, how do I sort through that? But there's definitely a lot of content, a lot of thought leaders out there. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I have a question. Currently, as a cybersecurity student at WGU and working as system analyst, this is Nashuru. I hope I said the name right. Do you think I can land an entry cybersecurity job? I guess they're saying coming from WGU.
Yeah, that's Western Governing
Governor University.
University. Yeah. I think so. I think anybody can get in this field if you have the altitude to be willing to learn and challenge yourself. And then also just remember, again, I'll point back to this, the people aspect. I heard, I was on an interview one time and I got the job. And then later on, I heard the hiring manager say, I really just want to hire people that I know I could sit next to on an airplane. Like, you're not going to annoy me. You're going to be personable. So, like, yes, have the technical know-how, have the terminology down, but remember that this is people. This is a people's business. At the end of the day, we're doing cybersecurity to protect people. And in order to get into cybersecurity, you're going to need people. So it's a people's game.
Yeah, it's a people, right? And Russell Eubanks, my buddy, he said you have to find your community in cyber, right?
Yes, 100%, Russell. That's a good one.
How do you feel about community? How do you find your community?
Well, I think for me, it's become a little bit natural simply because of the environments I've already been in, as far as, working for a cybersecurity company, getting to network with my colleagues, building those relationships and rapport with folks. So that's how my community was built. I'm not an expert, and I won't pretend to be a recruiter or a hiring manager.
Right.
Say, hey, this is exactly what you should do. I can only just give my perspective and what my background is.
Exactly. Now, here's another question from LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they hide the usernames for some reason. They said here that, is it more important to focus on developing my skills in a particular area of cybersecurity over just getting certifications? I love learning, but I keep getting advice that certs are everything.
I would say that it is good to have a good breadth of knowledge, right? That's going to just open up the door for you in a lot of different scenarios where, one company's looking for this, one company's looking for that. Someone might want you to be focused and very skilled in vulnerability management, where someone else may want you to be very focused in identity and access management. So I like to have a good understanding of all the basic concepts. But if you really want to excel and become a thought leader, you're going to have to narrow that down into a particular expertise, would be my suggestion.
And how do you go about doing that?
You got to be hungry. You got to be a sponge. You got to be willing to absorb as much information on the subject as you can. And again, that goes back to, getting involved with people who are in that industry, understanding what the topics are that are the current pain points in the industry. What are organizations trying to solve? Doing research on, YouTube, again, Udemy, whatever learning resources are out there, really just honing in on that particular subject if they have the content on it.
Okay, I have a statement, or it was a question about the Black Girls Hacking Village. Now, the Black Girls Hack is a organization, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Raymond, that helps, basically what it's saying, Black girls hack. Black girls get the technical and the soft skills needed to get into cybersecurity. Right? It's ran by Tanisha Martin. We had a village in DEF CON. Actually, I have the shirt on. Right? And we had a tremendous good time at DEF CON. DEF CON is like, DEF CON, right?
Yes.
DEF CON is like our mecca for cybersecurity geeks, right? And professionals. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of us there, right? for resources, for advertise. I know that when I started out, DEF CON wasn't introduced to me. Like, hey, you got to go to DEF CON. It was more of, oh, wow, that's thing happening over there in Vegas. I'm not a part. I didn't feel I was a part of that.
Right.
So we're trying now to change that for us, to add more diversity, to include us in those meetings, conversations, and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So so that was Black Girls Hack in DEF CON. I just wanted to. I know we veered off a little, but I wanted you to know about that. Right.
Sweet.
Good
one, Ernest. I like how you said how lit.
Yeah, how lit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it was very lit, and hopefully we could get you to talk next year, maybe. Right.
Oh man, I would be open to it.
Yeah,
I would be open to it.
You and AJ, that'll be awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. So there's another question. Let me see if there's another question out there. Oops. Oh, it was just saying they love the question. There's a statement here. This is where I was a mentee. Oh, great. That was my next question. Mentor. Did you have a mentor?
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, like I'm a huge advocate of having a mentor. When I was at Tripwire, one of the things I did was I led their diversity, equality, and inclusion program. So kick that off. And a part of that program, there was the birth of the Tripwire Mentorship program. I am 100% advocate of having a mentor, finding someone who can show you how to navigate, introduce you to the right people. And yes, I've had several mentors throughout the extent of my career. And one of the good things about it is, like, as you grow, your mentors have to evolve, and
to
find new mentors that are familiar with the challenges that you have. But yes, mentorship is 100% necessary, if you ask me, on being successful and getting into the right conversations.
Right. Do you have mentees yourself?
Yes, 100%. Keenan Lewis, he's one from the City of Refuge, and he just landed his
City Refuge.
Yep, he just landed his first cybersecurity gig earlier this year, and I'm extremely proud of him. I mean, we were just talking this time last year, maybe September of last year, where he was trying to get his foot in the door, and I've been extremely excited to watch him and grow. There's a few others out there I may not name, but yeah, definitely. I have mentees and even have mentors. It's such a pleasure to work with AJ directly, because I mean, every time this man speaks, he's dropping jewels, he's giving useful information. We had a one-on-one last week, and it was so refreshing, because when I left that conversation, I was encouraged, I was fired up, I was ready to go and tackle the next thing. And that's what I would say a mentor would do for anyone who's looking or considering having a mentor.
Right. Now, how did you find your mentor? It was at work? It was a coworker, or
wow,
organization, through LinkedIn?
Yeah, so mine pretty primarily came from work. My very first mentor was my economics teacher from high school, though. Which was really fun. He was my economics teacher. We ended up building a photography business together, and after I left high school, and like he kind of helped me understand, how to be an adult and a Black man and navigate, corporate America, and how to get those things going. And, as I really grown and got into my niche in IT and cybersecurity, I've had to find additional mentors through, reaching out and asking. I remember at Hewlett Packard, just talking to my direct manager, Daniel Johnson there, hey, I'm hungry. I want to learn. I don't want this to just be a job. I want to get in here. I want to understand, and I want to move my career forward. And I think just having that that hunger and willingness to learn will attract the appropriate mentor. People typically like to share what they've learned. And if you ask and you make yourself, available for being a mentee, oftentimes you'll get a positive response.
That's yeah, that's awesome. All right. So now I have a question in the audience from, again, LinkedIn Don't Show the User. For you guys over at LinkedIn, put your name in the chat so we know who you are. All right. The question is, are there any well-known or reputable entry-level cybersecurity apprenticeships?
I would not have the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I refer to you, Professor.
Okay. And does Bite Check, do they give apprenticeships?
Yeah, so I know AJ has brought on interns before in the past. I definitely think it's always worth conversation and reaching out. He has an altitude for making sure that people get their foot in the door and get the start that they need. So it's just a matter of reaching out, making yourself visible, and showing that you're interested.
Okay, and where do you guys find your interns?
I have not specifically participated in like the recruiting of internships, but I would encourage people to make sure that their brand is together online, as far as their LinkedIn, your Twitter. You're talking about the things that interest you and that you want to be in, and then reaching out to, someone at Bite Check for, consideration.
Okay. And what do your we're talking about how to find them, but what do they actually do? Like what does an intern actually do?
Oh, wow. It'll all depend on whatever role it is. Cybersecurity is so wide. Like, you could be an intern in cybersecurity sales, never really actually, coding or doing threat analysis, or you could be an intern in cybersecurity customer success management.
Right.
There's so many different roles in this field that you'd really have to, narrow that down a little bit.
Okay. Now, for internships, this is a new thing for technology, right? Having interns, having apprenticeships. This is new as a program. I mean, it was always there, but it's like, okay, let me bring up one or two people in from my college. But now, as a program, as a structured program, it's fairly new. Right, in the last maybe 5 years or so, it really picked up. So now the big companies, Bank of America, for instance, they're having internship programs. They're taking it a little bit more serious. It's leading to jobs. Before, internships was just something to do, right? But now it's leading to jobs. So that LinkedIn user, Kevin, start looking at these companies now. You can Google internships. They're kind of posted like jobs now, right? So you could Google that and apply for it. Most of the internships worth any salt you would apply for, right? So take that in consideration too. If you're not applying for it, then be kind of wary of the internship. If they like, okay, good, you start today. While on your way, pick up a couple of bagels and Starbucks order.
Yeah.
So, and most of the internships are paid in the big companies. Kevin had another question. He says specialization, because his question is, okay, given entry-level cyber jobs are asking for experience in certs like CISSP and GIAC, what is your advice to overcome these requirements? Yeah, this is what I see a lot, Raymond. Like some of these entry jobs ask for high level requirements.
Mhm.
CISSP, you need 5 years
Yeah.
of work of verifiable work
Mhm.
experience, right? Before you even get that cert. So, I see that, like Kevin has seen that on entry level jobs. What's your advice about that or your feelings about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk going on around like organizations claiming that things are entry level, but you need like tons of experience to really get in the door. One of the things I would suggest is if this is something that the organization is looking for, I would study the material. Like I mentioned earlier, when I first wanted to get into IT, I went and got a plus book and I studied it. I've never took the A+ exam, but I'm very confident and familiar with a lot of the language.
Right.
So once you understand the language and the concepts, then it's all around getting in front of the right person. So I would say make sure you understand the language, the terminologies, and then also network your way to talk to people to get that FaceTime, even if it's just, hey, would you be willing to, have a quick chat and exploratory call with me? Just putting yourself out there in that people first mindset. Like at the end of the day, there's a person there. We can be as professional as we want to be, but there's a human there. And if you can make that human connection, that can open up the door for you.
Yeah, human connection, that's not told a lot, right? How would you do if you was to start today?
Mm.
How would you, because I know that when we started, half of this stuff wasn't even here.
Oh, no.
LinkedIn was just a thought, was just a startup,
No, yeah, man,
right?
I was saying this to someone else before. I was like, wow, there's just so much more available now. I was so hungry and desperate to like get into the field back in the day. It was so hard, and I look now and I see so many more opportunities and programs that exist. Um, how would I start if I had to start today? Again, it's going to be, I think, trying to get in front of the people, network, and show interest. You've got to connect with people that are in the position and that are in the field that you want to be in. Reach out to them, offer yourself as a person that's willing to learn and also someone who's willing to add value.
Yeah, so you put a lot of emphasis on that. That's good. That's good. I don't see that being done, right? So now, what do you go to any conferences or any meetups or anything like that? You're from the Atlanta area, right?
Yes, I'm from Atlanta area. I currently live in Miami now. I've been in Miami.
Oh, you live in Miami? Okay.
I've been down here 3.5, 4 years. Not really so much just recently, simply because there was the pandemic and where things are just now kind of opening back up. I'm looking forward to getting into more in-person networking events as things begin to shore up again.
Oh yeah, you have any in mind?
Oh wow. There's AWS reInvent, I think, coming up in October.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely curious around that. I'd like to get to RSA next year.
Oh yes, RSA.
Yeah. So those are some of the ones that come top of mind.
Okay. Now, where do you see cloud going, and how can our community, right, start to take advantage of those opportunities?
Wow. So where do I see cloud going? I think cloud is becoming the new norm. Once upon a time, I could remember being, in circles where it's like, hey, people are migrating to the cloud. Now it's like everybody's starting off in the cloud. And if you have on-prem, you're probably doing it wrong, or you need to be very well capitalized to support that, So definitely cloud is the way to go. I think there's lots of ways to take advantage of it from different perspectives. If you want to be in the business and land a role where you're supporting cloud, and you're a part of that whole tech infrastructure piece of it, where you understand how to set up and navigate all the different cloud providers, I think there's going to be tons of opportunity and room there as things continue to go in that direction. And then there's also like the other piece, like there's cloud technology, and I'm sure there's somebody on this podcast that's listening that maybe has a niche for entrepreneurship. With cloud technology, there's also that aspect where we can now launch and build things and get things into customers and prospects' hands at an extremely accelerated rate versus 5 or 10 years ago, I would say. So it just depends on, if you're looking for the opportunity to join an organization, I would say learn the cloud providers, learn how they work, understand the terminology. If you're looking to just take advantage of the whole cloud movement, and maybe you have more of an entrepreneur mindset, I think that now is the best time than there's ever been to take advantage of the resources and get some products out there.
That's great. Is there any resources you would recommend to those breaking into cyber?
So, well, I always try to tell people, like, if you want to understand cybersecurity, I'd say start off with like OWASP top 10. Make sure you understand those. Like that, I think that gives you a good foundation on like all the different variations of where things could go wrong for organizations. You can find a lot of resources on that online, anywhere you search, Google, YouTube, you name it.
Right. Oh, we got another question. Kevin said, say I get a mentor, what is the best way to use their time? As I am beginning to learn about cybersecurity, it is hard to know what information I should know that's easy and what's hard to explain even for a professional.
I'm rereading that.
Yeah.
What's the best way to use their time?
That's deep, right?
Yeah, I would say be open about where you are and ask for their advice. I think I heard a quote, like, if you want to get into something, find a mentor and follow exactly what they say. That same speech cap, that same question I would pose to my mentor. I would say, hey, I understand that your time is valuable, and I really want to make sure I get the best out of this. Where, in your opinion, do you think I should be focusing? And kind of watch where that conversation leads you. I'm pretty sure they'll point you in the right direction after they find out what your interests are.
That's deep. Right. Yeah. Ask that to your mentor. That is that's a great point. Set that stage. Right.
Yeah.
I see as being a mentor, sometimes you give them steps to do and they don't do them.
Right.
In a way that's wasting the mentor's time.
Right.
So you want to make sure that your mentor, whoever your mentor is, you don't waste their time. Right. Not just best way to use their time. When they give you things to do or give you a certain advice, you execute.
Right.
You move on it quickly. Right. When they connect you to resources and other people, you follow through quickly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. No more questions. Okay. So, Raymond.
Yes, sir.
What is your next move? Are you looking next technology or?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm extremely interested in staying in the cloud security space. I want to continue to build great products that solve people problems. So yeah, I'm excited for what we're doing here at Bike Check and where we're going with our version 2 platform that's going to be available here shortly before the year's out. And I just see myself staying in this field where I'm taking these complex cloud problems, demystifying them and making them simple for people to understand, use, and take advantage of.
Right. No, that's great. Cloud security is new, actually, maybe a couple of years old, right?
Hmm.
As far as a framework and all that, now is something. Have you looked at any cloud security certifications?
Yes, I'm actually interested in. I've started kind of brushing up on. I think it's a CSSP, so like cloud
Yeah,
security
yeah,
specialist professional, or I forget the acronym, but yes.
yeah. The CCSP from
Okay.
IC squared, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's one. There's also another organization that just built on cloud security. It's called Cloud Security Alliance. Have
Oh
you ever
yeah.
heard of them?
Yes, I have
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah. They have a great. That's something you should look into. Probably be part of their working group,
Mm-hmm.
and help them build that too. They have a certification called I think it's the CCSK.
CCSK. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
actually seen that. I've actually
yeah.
seen that.
Yeah, take a look into that and um, join. Join their working group. Sean Harris, he's he's part of putting those certs together.
Hmm.
Right, I can link you with him.
I would appreciate that,
Yeah,
Professor.
yeah. It'd be good to bring some people that are in the field, vendors that are in the field, to be part of the play. On developing those certs.
Definitely.
I think in some of the certs, that's what's missing. Vendors are not involved. People in the field are not really involved in building those certs. So
Mm,
those certs become dry after a while, right?
I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have a couple of more minutes. Any closing thoughts, Raymond? This was a great interview. Thank you for coming.
Oh,
Right.
I'd say final thoughts. If I was talking to anyone like on a one-on-one basis, one of the things that I'd always try to articulate is that I'm a firm believer in manifestation. And if you can have a positive outlook and attitude and see yourself where it is you want to be, I believe the sky is the limit there. So that's what my final piece of advice would be.
Oh, you're doing some Tony Robbins on us.
Nah, no, not
You're
really.
doing some okay. Manifestation. What do you mean by that?
No, really, using your cognitive agility to picture the outcome you desire and emotionally connecting with the role that you see yourself having,
Mm,
the salary you see yourself having, the being the provider for your family that you see yourself having, being able to walk in that even before you have it and feel that and connect with that emotionally has tremendously it changed my life and provided me so many opportunities that I do not honestly believe would be capable without that secret technique there.
oh, that is deep. Manifestation. That is deep. Be emotional. Get emotional, right?
Yeah, connect with the reality that you
Con-
want.
yes, connect with the reality that you want. That is deep. Thank you, Tony. you know, which tape we have to buy for
Oh, no.
which book we have to buy. No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that is a beautiful. Before we leave, let's
Mhm.
see if anybody has any questions. If not, we'll end it for today. Um yeah, I don't see any questions in the audience. Anybody has any questions for Raymond before we close out? If not, thank you, Raymond. This was awesome.
Definitely.
I would definitely like you to come again. So you have a nice weekend, everybody. Thank you for coming. Have a nice weekend, and we'll see you next week, next Friday.
Thank you so much, Professor Rogers.